Hello, my Women in Motorsport interview series, as you can see, is back, and I'm thrilled to say that. And I had the absolute pleasure earlier this week of speaking to the girls from Laurel Hill Racing in Limerick, and they are competing in the F1 in Schools competition, and they've made it to the Irish National Finals, which are taking place in May, and they're just an absolutely exemplary, fantastic group of girls. We ended up talking about who their F1 inspirations are, who their just day-to-day life inspirations are, and also the massive impact that being involved in this program has had on them, and how they think about the opportunities that they have going forward as females in sport, and just generally the career options that they have open to them. And it was a great chat, so stay tuned and make sure to drop a comment down below to let me know what you think, and also tell me, who do you want me to speak to next? Well, girls, thank you all for joining me today. I'm so excited to be chatting to you, and just so we can get acquainted, I'll kind of mention each member of the group and your role, and then if you could just give us a little wave when you're mentioned, that would be great. And also just to say that Margarita is the fourth member of the group, and she's the team manager. She was unable to be with us today, but we have the rest of the group. So we have Sophie, who's on marketing and sponsorship. We have Alana, who is the engineer and designs and builds the car. And then we have Genevieve, who does the design on the car and the uniforms as well. Okay, perfect. So we all know who everyone is. You had mentioned before that kind of the love of F1 came from watching races at the weekends and just being in awe of the sport. And I'd love to start by asking each of you who your favorite F1 driver is, whether it's current or past.
Will I go first? Okay, so my favorite driver is Sebastian Vettel.
Nice.
I don't know, I just kind of really like him because like he's a class driver. He's like driven from like so many of my favorite teams, but he's also like an activist for like LGBTQ plus rights and also like the climate change as well. So I know he's just all around like the best for me.
Yeah, all around great guy. I agree. That's a great choice.
My turn next?
Yeah.
I really like Checo Perez. Now, I'm not really like a huge Formula One fan. These two really drag me into the whole thing. I really do enjoy watching like the races sometimes with everyone, and like it's just such a, I don't know, I really like the whole idea of like Formula One in itself. That's basically it.
My favorite driver is probably Valtteri Bottas, purely because every race he has to race against Lewis Hamilton, and without fail, well, used to, but I just remember every time he'd have to go up against Lewis, and everyone's always rooting for Lewis, and I just think, you know what, Bottas is just as good as him in every way, you know, and really like he's the underdog that no one roots for, but I am.
That's fair enough.
Sebastian Vettel on her home screen.
That's allowed. We won't tell anyone. I suppose the main reason we're here is because of your involvement in the F1 in Schools competition, which is so exciting, and I'm really looking forward to kind of getting into the detail of it with you. And Alana or Sophie, I'd love to start with you and ask, you know, whose idea was it first to enter the competition, and how do you actually go about like forming the team once you decide to join?
So yeah, we first heard of the competition properly from our teacher, Mr. Oziak. He went over the intercom, and all we heard was like blah blah blah, and then it was like F1 in schools, and we were like, hang on, I like Formula One and I'm in school. So all of us were kind of like, will we do it?
You know, like eyeing each other from across the room, like
yeah, their class. And yeah, we all headed down, and once we heard a bit more about the competition and you know, all the different places you get to go and all the different tasks, we just thought these are all things that we can definitely do, you know, nothing's gonna hold us back. And
not 60 years.
Yeah, not 60 definitely not. And yeah, so that's how we really got into it.
Yeah, but we dragged Margarita and Jada with us along to the meeting with Mr. Ozek, and we were like, you're joining with us, because it has to have 4 people or 6 people in a team. Yeah. So, but they actually love Formula One now. They love it now, though.
You've been converted. Nice.
Yeah.
Well, the national finals are coming up in May, which is obviously just around the corner. And I'd love to know, Alana and Genevieve, kind of what you can share in terms of what that part of the competition will involve, and more importantly, how you've been preparing for it in terms of, you know, the engineering and the design side.
Yeah, so really, I'm in charge of designing the car and making sure that it gets manufactured exactly how I want it. So we use a program called Autodesk, which has a kind of sub software called Fusion 360. And from there, I'm able to go about making the car and doing exactly what I need to do. And we're using, so the car will be manufactured using a special foam, and we're going to send that off to our manufacturers, and that's going to be done hopefully tomorrow so that we can start seeing our prototypes and getting things rolling. And just making sure that our car is exactly where it needs to be for the competition. Jeddah is in charge of making sure that all the stickers from our sponsors fit on, especially who's our lead sponsor, Sophie?
Munster Car Parts.
Yeah, Munster Car Parts gets the biggest sticker.
Yeah, they gave the
most
money.
After competition, like everything, like not only is the car judged, but like practically every other aspect of like team branding. There's a pit display that you have to have for the whole like competition at the venue.
Yeah, it's not just engineering.
Yeah, you get marked on like the portfolio and like all of that. Just you do. It's just a very good experience, I feel like, overall, because like everyone learns something else, something different, and then like we've had literally just like trouble, but like good times, I suppose, just going out and reaching out towards like all these different people, these photographers, these designers, these different aspects of just like the whole competition. And
it's basically just forming a mini F1 team.
We're kind of our own company at this point.
100%. No, it's great. I agree. It's a great experience for the future as well. You know, that kind of entrepreneurial spirit. And as you said, like having to get through challenges as a team, that's something that is obviously going to come up kind of forever into the future. So it's a great skill to learn so early as well. You had mentioned sponsors, and I know personally from being part of Formula Woman, sponsors are notoriously difficult to tie down. So Sophie, I know you're kind of in charge of that part of the team, and I'd love to hear how you honestly masterminded in 9 sponsors so far for the team. I'd love to hear a bit more about that.
Well, I've raised over like €4,000 for the team. So it's quite difficult. You have to have like a lot of determination and like a lot of resilience and stuff, because not everybody will answer you, but the people who do, like, they're really nice and stuff. So basically you just have to form like a professional email and be like really kind in it, and just be like exactly what you're doing in the team, and just say all the like newspapers and radios you've been on, and be like include that into it, because a big part of it is like return on investment. So we've been in like loads of like last week we were on the Pat Kenny show, and then we were on the like Irish Examiner and so many others beforehand. So as long as we like shout out our sponsors, they'll be like, it's like a good return on investment. And then we also have them like their stickers on the car and stuff. But
so really we're wearing them all.
We'll be on our jackets and stuff.
Nice. I love that. And overall, maybe for each of you, maybe it's the same for everyone, but what has been the part of the competition that you think has kind of surprised you the most, that you maybe weren't expecting?
For me, it was actually just getting around the whole aspect of, I have been given a software I have never seen before in my life or heard of. And now I have to use it to build a car, like make something online into a physical thing. And it was really difficult at the start. And even now I still struggle, and I'm like, can somebody help?
Especially engineering in our school and stuff like that.
We unfortunately don't have the resource of engineering in our school, even though I think one of the teachers does have engineering as one of his subjects. It's just not really a resource that we were offered here. But we heard that in the new school building for Laurel Hill, they're considering putting in an engineering room. So
we're really happy.
We'll be the at the forefront for bringing it in.
I feel like for me, one of the aspects that I actually never expected to have to like go out and source all of these manufacturers for like the uniform, for the pit display, trying to figure out like not only just like how to design something with like just enough professionality, but also to be able to like source all the materials. And just, it was I feel like it was just like a fairly odd experience, I suppose, considering that like I jumped from leaving cert arts, just like painting on like literally like paper, to just like being like, going out, emailing all these photographers, emailing like all these real world people, like industry people. It was definitely an eye-opening experience, especially like just making the uniform. I'm not a clothing person, so I've never actually done that before. So
It turned out really well though.
It turned out brilliant for someone who's not, you know, a seamstress or anything like that, to be able to make sure that they got produced at top quality in the standard, you know.
Yeah, in the amount of time frame as well.
And everyone in school, you walk past and you get that cool like look back. Like,
I love that. What about for you, Sophie?
I would have surprised the workload that's actually involved in the team, because I know we're on 60, but when I started the team, I thought this would be easy peasy. I don't know why I thought that. I was a bit delusional. But at the same time, I'm like really happy I did it, because I've got like so many skills, like computer skills, like I'm still really bad at the computer, but I'm learning. Organizational skills and like communication skills, like we're talking with sponsors and just like within the team, like.
Yeah, especially, and that will definitely help us in the future, because you know, with interviews and everything.
I love that. You're so right. It's all real world skills that, like you say, you know, normally in secondary school you wouldn't necessarily get to gain those like through your curriculum. So it's absolutely awesome that you're sort of finding another way to do it, which is great. So for folks watching who may not be as familiar, your slogan is "If you can see it, you can be it." I absolutely love that. I love a good slogan anyway, but it's definitely a really great one. And I'd love to know more about kind of the origins of it and sort of what it means to you as a group.
Will I start?
Yeah.
Okay. So basically, growing up in the school, we've always had like posters around the school, especially like in the hallways, of teachers like playing sports or just like powerful women. So like it'd be like, if you can see it, you can be it. Like you can see just like powerful women like walking down the stairs. You can be that too. And then ever since then, I wanted to achieve the exact same thing and be like the role models for younger years, and just be like, you got this, you know, there's no reason why you can't do it as well. Yeah, because representation like really matters between like everyone. So yeah,
exactly. Like I remember when we started this, the whole thing was, wow, we're a group of 4 girls and you know, we're gonna go do something that's, I don't want to say a man's game, but you know, and it's kind of that, but you know, you see, like we're hoping that if other years below us see that a group of girls can, you know, achieve success there, you know, we can do these things, then hopefully, you know, that'll spur more girls on to come into the competition, to go into engineering, sciences, maths, and you know, it's just great. Like we may not get our spot on the wall, but we have a social media big enough to make sure people know.
Oh yeah.
Especially like, if you can see it, you can be it. It's also a reminder to us, like we've already done so much. And like at the beginning, I'm not gonna lie, like to be honest, like I really wasn't expecting to get this far. I wasn't expecting to get like all of these interviews, all of this just experienced, you know, and like just being able to look back and see what we have come, like how much we've come, how much we've done, like, and looking forward onto our goals. Like we, you know, if you can see it, you can be it. Like it's really just a very personal sort of message as well, just encouraging us alongside other people.
It's not just girls, it's telling everyone, you know, you see other people do it, that means you can do it, you know.
Exactly.
It's a really powerful message, and I kind of love it.
Yeah.
Sophie's obsessed. Any chance you get, if you can see it, you can be it.
No, 100%. Yeah, I agree. And like you are doing it exactly. You know, you are being fantastic role models. So I think it's awesome to see that embodiment of it as well. And I suppose we kind of touched on it briefly there, but maybe Alana, if you want to chat about, you know, what you think could be done to get more young females into motorsport, because obviously it isn't, you know, the most common thing to be interested in, and it, you know, you kind of do have to get into engineering and the sciences quite early, otherwise it's not impossible, but it does become harder the older that you get. So I'd love to know what you think could be done to help out more with that.
Yeah, you're exactly right. I mean, it starts in the schools. It has to, like, even in primary school, you know, if there was any way, because I know with Jeddah, you probably did art in primary school, and that probably, you know, brought on, okay, well, I'm good at art, I can do it in school. So if there was a way to get little kids into it, like I remember my little brother obsessed with the toy cars, you know. So, and then in secondary schools, engineering has to be brought in. It has to be brought in not only to mixed and boys schools, it has to be in the girls schools too. There has to be tech graph things.
to allow that option.
Yeah,
at
girls
least.
need the options and they need to be shown it's not just for, the other half. It's for us too. We can do anything they can. And because when girls get to college and it's like, well, what is engineering? How do I pick that? I remember I was confused about that too. And, my dad's an engineer, so thankfully he was able to explain it to me, but not everyone has that resource. So it has to start as soon as you get into school, That's really it for me.
I feel like as soon as, like, especially as a little child, there is no distinction between like boys' toys or girls' toys. Like at the very beginning, there is no distinction between, oh, this person's a boy, I shouldn't talk to him. This person's a girl, oh, I should be her friend. Nobody cares about that type of stuff, especially as a young child. And like as you grow older, you just gradually just get more aware that like, oh, maybe I shouldn't be doing engineering. It's like my brother does engineering. I should do like homework or something, whatever. Like,
yeah, like they're pushing, I don't want to say they're pushing the wrong thing, but they're not pushing all the options. They're giving you
limited options.
You learn at a very young age that you shouldn't be doing this, but at the end of the day,
it's a stereotype you have to fit.
At the end of the day, it's something that like, again, like I've been raised with art, and I know that like if I never did art as a child, like I wouldn't be here today, Like,
if I hadn't started this competition, I wouldn't be taking engineering as a serious college option for myself.
Exactly.
Yeah,
I
I
would be
business.
I probably would have been turned off of it and done something completely different.
Exactly.
I think the kind of point you all touched on there in different ways is just equality is the name of the game. So it has to be So I think that's definitely, I 100% obviously agree. And I think you all have been fantastic in kind of explaining exactly what it means to be at your age and the difference that it makes to get these kind of opportunities. So thank you for sharing that. I always do a quick finisher for my interviews. So it's like a little quick fire round, and I'm going to direct the questions at specific people, but feel free if you have an answer to jump in as well. So Sophie, I'm going to start with you. If you could go to any Grand Prix from the 2022 calendar, which race would you go to and why?
Oh, it has to be Monza, definitely 100%. Remember last year they had like a McLaren 1 and 2 and they're my favorite team, so I definitely want to see that race again and again. There's just been always
Forever.
I would not.
Amazing.
It's such a good iconic day. Yeah.
Alana, tell me, who do you think the most successful team pairing is going to be by the end of the 2022 F1 season?
It's so difficult to choose because Red Bull did so well last year and everyone has these high expectations, but Ferrari have superseded anything anyone thought so far already. I mean, Carlos and Charles, in the first race, P1 and 2, what? Who expected that? So I want to say Ferrari, they're going to make a comeback this year and it's going to be better than ever.
I'd love to know who was actually your most inspiring woman in motorsport.
I don't know.
The strategy engineer of Alfa Romeo, I had no idea who she was. And I was like, who's that woman on the track? And I remember my brother saying, oh, it's probably just someone's wife. And then finding out that she is the lead strategy engineer. Like, she's the one, I know it's the guys in the car who were going around the corners and everything, but she's the one who says, okay, this is what you're doing. This is strategy A. This is what, she's the one who decides everything they're gonna do, She's taking the risks for them. And, if it backfires, and it comes on her. Like, she's got so much responsibility. And that's just amazing because she's at such a high position. And, for her to go from, in my mind, being probably someone's wife to being actually this really important figure for a team.
That's somebody you want to be.
Yeah, somebody you want to be, an inspiration,
Absolutely. Totally agree. And Genevieve, maybe if you want to take the last one. I asked this of all my guests and I just love getting different answers from everyone. If you could be any cartoon character from your childhood for one day, who would you choose to be and why?
Oh my god. Okay, I feel like it's going to be a very hyper feminine response, but I want to be Barbie. I grew up completely obsessed with Barbie. First of all, no, and I know what you're gonna, and don't look at me like that. But,
no judgment. No judgment.
She always she's canonically able to master any skill that she's ever wanted. She's canonically able to get any job that she's ever had, chef, astronaut, Pretty much everything. I feel like she was an F1 driver at one point. Like I actually don't know, but like
There
I
was a
remember
Barbie racing. Yeah, I believe there was some sort of Barbie
and
racing.
like
Yeah.
I've collected her movies like since I was a child, like a religion. Like it was actually kind of bad. But like ever since I was young, I've always been interested in like all these various like hobbies, all these various like things to do, like things I was interested
Oh,
in.
you've done everything.
I've signed up for like so much stuff recently, like back in the day, and like I feel like having her, even though she was like the biggest like hyper feminine, hyper
Yeah, pink.
hyper pink, yeah. She was definitely like one of my biggest sources of like inspiration, I guess, like motivation to just basically be able to like say like, hey, I want to do this. Why can't I do this? And then just like go and just do everything, I suppose.
And do it wearing pink, which it just goes to show that you can do both. You know, it is possible.
Pink is better than heels.
Yeah, exactly. Maybe wouldn't recommend driving an F1 car in heels, but I'm sure she'd give it a try if she got the chance. Look, girls, thank you so much. I've really enjoyed chatting to you, and wish you absolutely the best of luck in the rest of the F1 in Schools competition, and I will be following your progress really closely. So thank you so much for chatting today.
Thank you.
Thank you
so much.